world? It's your boy at Big Game James _36, and this is Big Games B.S, part of Dim Media Group, presented by MFTK Foundation. The MFTK Foundation is a go-to website for all things community related. We'll get into that when we kind of start the show with some of the different things that we have going on, some of the stuff that we've done. Happy New Year to everybody. We have not done a show. We ain't done a show all year. And that's crazy when you think about it. But hope everybody has made it safely onto this year and cannot wait to grow together and get to know and get to be in the know on a lot of other things that are going on in the sports community that we deem the Jaguars have had a crazy season in success. We've seen crazy seasons in that we might not necessarily care about too much. We've also seen with rivals, we've also seen my alma mater be stagnant. Those are all things that we're going to get a chance to explore a little bit more on today's show, as well as just as the year comes on. Just real quick, as we're doing this, for anybody who's listening, quick call to action. Wow, that thing's got 141 comments, and that's crazy. We have, we went for a long time until we started streaming high school games, and then we got our numbers up, but we have 7,290 total subscribers to the channel, which is great. I was just looking at this channel 5 years ago. It was 248. And it really kind of blew up the last 3 years in growth. Really, I'd even argue that just our subs the last 90 days have really been what's taken off. That's thanks to you people on Twitter that watch and don't. And some of you have gone over and clicked the link, but it would definitely help. We want to be able to get one of my goals has been my goal for the last few years is to get to 10,000 subs. We had a huge spike in December. We'll be doing a lot more with the channel as well as branching off into other channels as well, but we'll be doing a lot more with streaming sports. We'll start this weekend with the MFTK Spartan tune-up meet, where we will be getting a lot of video, getting a lot of stuff to be able to put out there to be able to show some of the top athletes in Northeast Florida. And then when we go to Battle Miami and we go to other places of the sort, we will be putting out content, interesting content between this, Big Games and Gridiron, the IGs, and a lot of the different stuff. So hopefully we'll get back on track, I think, and continue to keep this momentum where we're doing 3 reels a day or 3 shorts on YouTube, and just putting up current events and things of that nature. Like, man, I like taking some of these things that coaches say on Twitter. The Northern Illinois coach got 25,000 views on this 2-minute clip. So we'll also continue to be doing giveaways. We probably will have we may have some playoff giveaways. I'm not sure yet. It depends on how the city council, how that distribution goes. But yeah, outside of that, there's nothing else really going on. Let's go ahead and get this thing started, Jaden. Excuse me, let's get the prayer first. I forgot. The first prayer of the year is the most important prayer of the year. So we got to get that started.
You already know what time it is, dog. Thank you, God, for another day. Thank you, God, for another day. Thank you, God. God is great. All the time. All the time. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Go.
All right, Jaden, what you got?
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another morning edition of Big Games B.S. here on Monday, January 5th. If this is your first time at the show, welcome. And if you're wondering why it's called Big Games B.S., it's because we bring the good, the bad, and the BS of the sports world, especially football, to your screens, eyes, and ears. First things first, we are going to start off with some college football talk. But before we discuss the college football playoff quarterfinals, we're going to discuss FSU. There's been a lot of news revolving FSU, especially since that transfer portal opened on January 2nd. We are going to take a look at some topics associated with our football program specifically before diving into the college football playoff quarterfinals and what the semifinals are going to look like as well. After that, we are going to dive into the NFL section. This week was the last week of regular season football in the NFL. So we're going to discuss the last slate of regular season games in the league that occurred on Saturday and on Sunday as well. Talk about the playoff picture, the wild card playoff picture, some players, and the season stat leaders for the regular season. We'll finish off our show with one video in our BS or Bussin' food review segment, and that is under our Big Games BS segment. So we are going to have our BS or Bussin' food review topic to discuss as our only topic in the Big Games BS section for today. But I just wanted to start off swinging, James, with this episode since we didn't have one on Friday. I wanted to start off with the heavy hitters. I know you see it loaded up in the, I guess, StreamYard right here, but let's attack on what everybody's been thinking about and with our quarterback situation at FSU, because there's been a lot of discourse on Twitter, especially surrounding this familiar quarterback who played at the University of Florida. But let's get into it, James, because it seems we got some pictures of DJ Lagway in 4K at Florida State this morning. We know DJ Lagway has a visit with Florida State, and the UNLV quarterback Anthony Colandrea also had a visit with FSU as well. But before we get to Anthony, James, let's go back to DJ and let's just shoot some numbers out there. How likely is it that DJ could go from blue and orange to garnet and gold?
All right, so those who know, I don't talk about things that I don't know much about, and I have a lot of things have been good in the Coleman household some days, and some days they haven't. But like, I've got an opportunity to have a lot of combos with some people. And when this was, well, obviously the Deuce situation and a lot of other things, this one kind of caught me off guard. I really believe that I like the ODU kid for us more. There's a lot of things that people kind of discuss when it comes to this, in particular the money side of it. And I really wish they would stop, because it is a lot of hearsay, but it's also a lot of hypocrisy and shit that just doesn't make sense. Like they're waffling on both sides of it. But one, how tall is DJ Lagway supposed to be? Because Mike is my height. Like, they look like they seeing eye to eye, right? Okay, all right. Okay, depending on the angle of that picture, like I can see that. But to answer your question, very, very, there's a high probability that he could be one of the guys in the running for the next signal caller at Florida State. To me, all of this shit is wild. But it's kind of like, I also come from the gang era, like when like NWA was popping there, like, but now Bloods and Crips make We Are Harmony songs and shit. Like, but when I grew up, that was just a no. Like, so like these kids don't care about rivalries like we do as fans. Like, they don't, like, so you have to unplug your mind from what the game used to be. Because the game ain't the game is the game, but the game ain't what it used to be though. Things just ain't the same for gangsters. I'll never, ever like Florida ever. But, you know, I do like Richie Leonard, though, and it has worked. But I think if this chip or domino is to fall, pay attention to some of the other goods that are on Florida's roster and see where those guys may end up going, or maybe some people who have not hit the portal yet. So that's why they're going to put a lot of pressure on getting that deal done, if it is to be done. And they are working the collective people that they know with disposable incomes and things in order. Yes, Angelo Smith. All right, now, if DJ Lagway gets me ball, I am completely okay with that. But one of the big things that they look at is they look at the two different offensive systems. And this is what I was hoping. This is what I am not. This is not a James Coleman pro or con for DJ Lagway. Right now I'm just regurgitating a little bit of information. You can try to find the clip what I just said. Yeah. The running back from Angelo put the running back. You just passed it. But he has tools. He is a mobile quarterback, and they believe that he fits in a mobile quarterback system, which is what, if you looked at what Florida State did last year, there is a lot of things that you can just, if you take away the visuals of him trying to sit back in the pocket, and you look at DJ Lagway breaking a run, or you look at DJ Lagway's arm strength, you look at DJ Lagway's ability to be able to see the middle of the field, and you place him there instead of Thomas Castellanos, you probably see 8 wins with DJ Lagway. I'm not saying you're seeing a college football playoff win, but I'm saying you probably do see big wins. You see some more wins. Heck, you saw wins over some good things against the University of Florida, but then you saw him regress and do some other stuff, but that's from the injuries and things of that nature. He's not, I would personally rather see us work with some of the kids that we've recruited to bring in, but that's just not the nature of the game right now. But some of the numbers that they were talking about, I know those numbers aren't true because DJ Lagway didn't want to leave Florida. DJ Lagway asked to take less and still got told, nah, we good. That's tough. And so sometimes this could be a jilted lover thing. But if you're able to get him on a coupon and he's able to improve you to 8-9 wins, playing a bigger bowl game, have conversations for making the CFB, because like it or not, the way that the University of Miami is playing will make the ACC a little bit more viable for getting multiple spots next year. Just think about who Miami has beat. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, but that does help. But like, if he allows us to be able to go get more pieces, then I'm okay. Like, at this point, I'm okay. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. Everybody, like, 5-7 is not acceptable. But if you go back and you look, that was not just like it wasn't a 2-10 team. It wasn't a 5-7 football team. Florida State should have beat Virginia, hands down. Florida State should have beat NC State. Florida State should have beat a lot of the different teams. We left a lot of points on the table. That being said, if you add a couple more pieces, who knows? Now, it doesn't help for those who want to get rid of Mike Norvell tomorrow, but I am not interested in firing or hiring, even though it would do numbers for the channel. I am interested in the logo being as great as it can be, because the logo sells tickets. So now, I already told y'all that we weren't really interested in the UNLV quarterback like that. And as you can see, he bounced and he's going to Georgia Tech. Man, bro, the way this stuff works with the portal, if you don't get them, they gone. They did bring in a kid, a local kid at cornerback that hopefully we'll talk about my friend, my dear friend who I talked to on the phone yesterday. His son's playing for MFTK. I have to book his travel. it's tough when you got to book somebody. I was hoping Crow was gonna send his son, like come with his son, save me a couple dollars, but like I can't put him on Spirit, right? No, gosh. Hey, Spirit got some cheap flights out of Houston, bro. Like this shit is killing me, dog. Like it's not even so much that the money's not there. It's just like when you see it there, you like to look at it, and then you got to spend it, and then you're like, oh shit. And then you got to wait for. I'm still waiting on other stuff to come through, but the UNLV guy is kind of mid too. So when you look at all of the mid that's in the portal, it's just like, hey, maybe our system fits this guy better. So, we'll see. But I do know the money is that we're trying to. We as in Florida State are trying to make sure we acquire the right pieces. And when you look at Deuce coming back, you look at Wheezy, and the way he took off toward the end of the season. You look at Makai Danzy. You look at somebody I'm trying to think, another one of the wide receivers that came on board. You get another one of those wide receivers to really push it. You get Osama bin Running, as well as Sam Singleton incorporated in the game, bring in a ball or somebody like that. Maybe if you get this guy, probably get a couple other pieces. If you get this guy, it's a kind of interesting offensive look. I know I'm gonna throw a tailgate the first game. I'm probably not going to the Bama game. It has nothing to do with me thinking that we're going to lose. I just don't like going to the state of Alabama. I went for the first time last year is when I went to the state of Alabama. I don't know if I want to go, but that's like Mobile is right there. I don't know if I want to venture deeper in there. I was a history major with an emphasis in African American studies and in African studies. So like, it's a little Alabama, Mississippi, a little colorful with their history. Like, I'm a little nervous. Some great people from Alabama and Mississippi, by the way, that I do know. It ain't that Florida ain't. Florida got Rosewood and a bunch of other stuff. But I know this devil. I don't know that devil. So, but yeah, so now we're looking at some other pieces. If anybody has any questions right now about Lagway and the recruiting and stuff like that, feel free to obviously drop that in the chat and all those other different things.
You mentioned it previously, but Florida State first team All ACC wide receiver Deuce Robinson, a legacy, decided to forego the NFL draft and forego his name in the transfer portal. So he's returning to FSU. He had 56 passes for 1,081 yards, and 6 touchdowns, becoming Florida State's first 1,000-yard receiver since 2019. So, James, like you were saying, Deuce is staying. He is going to be a piece on that FSU wide receiver core. So I'm happy to see the All ACC wide receiver sticking with the FSU Seminoles.
That's wild. We haven't had 1,000-yard receiver since Tag. And you think about the guys that have been pretty good and whatnot. So, I was in this conversations with this one right here. Again, that's why it's laughable with the things that we pay for subscription services. Like, you have no idea what it takes to keep a kid or what it takes to, but this kid right here, all around, genuine good kid. The contract is fair. It's favorable to both sides. And it gives him the opportunity to make, if he would have left this year, he'd make close to what he would have made this year. So like, you come back when you feel like you have the opportunity to be one of the top guys in the nation next year, like coming into the draft. So with the hype that he had, if he's able to replicate another 1,000-yard season to be able to do some of the things that he's done, and I've said this before, he's a more athletic version of my guy who's in Philly right now, the wide receiver we had. That was Johnny Wilson. Yeah, he's a more athletic version of Johnny Wilson. Much more range, much more. He can run more routes. He's a little bit more physical, more durable. He's really, really good. And he's a good piece. He's the guy that you need in this Gus Malzahn system. You need a fuck it. Somebody's there. Like you got to throw it to. You need the McCoys that can keep the safeties honest in the middle of the field. Then you need a guy who just. This is gonna sound terrible. You need a guy who's just 6 inches bigger than everybody else. Where you just say fuck it, he's there, and just throw it up. He's gonna catch it. So when everybody was, did y'all again? If I want you to notice something here. Well, everybody, Deuce is leaving. He's not going to come back. Why would Deuce leave? Why would he come? I know he's coming back. I was like, he's coming back. He just ain't put the edit out. It was just working on some of the different things. Yeah, my bad. I got to hit the pause on that one right there. I'm not. Like it's never as bad or as good as what people present. I just want good, and I only know these things not just because of what I know in the background, right, or what I've helped in the background with. I know it because by the nature of what I do, I have to learn about other people's programs. I have to talk about other people's things. I have to, because of the young men that I'm around, I have to talk to other collectives. I have to talk to other stuff. Like, I'm not just out here with a pen or with my thumbs typing and shit all day for you guys to pay me $3.99. Now, even though there is an opportunity for that. We do need to get the Discord back popping like it was for the state championships. I do like you guys going to fifth quarter and stuff like that as well. I don't report what doesn't need to be reported because I'm not a subscription-based service, and I'm not going to give you information just for shits and giggles. When you require and you continue to push and pursue, they have to give you something. I.e., remember, just less than a week ago, everybody was leaving Florida State? Y'all remember that? Well, then, if they don't want to be here, fuck them. Jabril Rawls isn't that good. Ron's that good. Like, why do you want to? Then it was like, why do you want to leave me? Why? And I'm like, guys, the portal don't open to the second. And I have it. Then the day before the portal opens, we get nothing but what is this? What blow that back up, Jaden? Because I know we leaving Deuce a little bit. This is December 31st. They had just talked with all kind of certainty that he was leaving. Do you have? All I'm putting is this out here. It's not saying anybody's being deliberately mischievous. It's not saying anybody's doing anything. All I'm suggesting is if people were the people who were so sure that these guys were leaving and let your hate and your vitriol for the current coaching staff flow. You don't find it odd that all of a sudden them same people are telling you that they're coming back? What if they were never leaving? All I'm saying is just let it play out, let it ride out. Because here's what's going to happen. I can guarantee. The only thing I can guarantee you is this, and even I can't guarantee that because the Anunnaki could come in and destroy the world by that point. Is that we have a home game, we have a home opener, and that people who listen to Den Media Group, you get $375. You get your hotel instead of no 2-day minimums. You get a one day minimum, and I can get you the same rate as the team. That's the only things that are guaranteed coming around with FSU. Everything else, let it play out. Let the roster shake itself out. Because, again, you're the same people who were complaining about damn near every one of these guys. They weren't complaining about Rawls. But go back to Rawls. Happy about Rawls and Ashton Baker both coming back. Two good football players. Ashton is a really good hitter. Jabril Rawls gives you that corner that you want on one side. We got better with the South Alabama kid that we'll talk about here probably shortly. But like a lot of you need that veteran presence. I think the defense, who statistically speaking was exponentially better as the season for the totality of the season, just at times really looked lost. And we just got to continue to press and continue to push and and do those different things. Joe, you got to come to the chat. I saw your calls yesterday, Joe. Yesterday, last couple of days been crazy too. Make sure y'all hit up my guy Joe Johnson. This right here, we're gonna be giving away a lot of these in 2026. Once I get my stuff together, we're gonna come out with some creative marketing and creative things for that. Also, one of the things that people are still into, and I learned this from my sons, is well, this is my Doughboy card game. We're gonna do that too, but it's that man got the game locked on the on he's got some very creative stuff coming for you guys. If you want those things, but I need you on the YouTube and not on the Twitter, sir. That helps me tremendous. It helps me a lot more if you're on the YouTube with the algorithm. But Miles, you like cards? I know your mom was talking about these Pokemon cards that you have that she has locked away in storage somewhere. It's probably like millions of dollars locked away in her house. Like nobody's gonna care about Pokemon in 20 years. By the time we find them, but I do know Trey was trying to spend some of his Christmas money. Like they still do the boxing. I know it was big during COVID or whatnot, but like you do the unboxing and all this other kind of stuff. Okay. But like you buy a box and then it's like these special cards or whatever, and I want to get into it not because I think it's cool, it's because it's money. But I don't know how to. Like, he's a kid, so anyways. Bottom line is, I was just shouting out my guy Joe Johnson with that. But Barker, Rawls, a lot of these guys that you guys are crying about that are coming back. Guys that we may end up getting anyway, or some guys that we needed to leave. You need space. It's looking like the new GM is operating like a new GM should operate, and we just gotta let it play out. Again, my bad. The other guarantee is that unless y'all find a stripper, Mike Norvell is the going to be the coach. And y'all need to get on board or don't. I mean, I just don't want to hear it's got to be something else to bitch about all day, every day.
You mentioned the South Alabama prospect, and we got it right here. He is committing to Florida State. So the South Alabama cornerback, Mr. Chandler, stands at 6'1", 180 pounds. He totaled 32 tackles, 13 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, and 2.5 tackles for loss this past season. He also led the Sun Belt in passes defended. And your friend had something to say, James, before looking at the film. Yes, everybody was kicking Crows back in for his comments on him, but he said he made those comments before watching the film. And from what the film shows, this guy is a dog out there. He did lead the Sun Belt in passes defended. No surprise there. And James, what are your thoughts about the South Alabama acquisition for our secondary?
Well, here's what I do know. We plucked him from Wisconsin. Mad about if y'all ever hear me say fuck with Lil Wayne, it ain't Lil Weezy, it ain't our Weezy McCoy. It's Young Money. Young Money out here scooping these kids up and representing fucking everybody, dog. Like this shit bothers me, dog. But like this is a young man who had been in talks with his people. We're trying to, there's some other, like I said, there's a lot of cool things that I'm doing behind the scenes that a lot of people aren't aware of yet. And we're gonna try to not only launch that here in 2026, but really push it forward with MFTK as far as representation of young men in the NIL space. But local kid, really just from Jacksonville. I think he played in Wakulla or in that area. Local Tallahassee kid that went under recruited, which is part of the reason why I'm doing a lot of stuff that I'm doing. Went to South Alabama, proved himself, and became one of the top prospects in the portal. He's got the measurables. He's long. He can run. He can cover. And one of the things you said, Jaden, that was very important. You said he led the conference in passes defended. Did I hear that correct? Got to unmute yourself.
Yeah, you did. Sorry.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, opposite Jabril Ross, who's going to be the guy that everybody's going to come in and say, all right, we can't really go at that guy. We got to go at somebody else. And what we don't want is somebody else who's getting picked on that cannot perform or produce at a high level. And yes, he was at Georgia Tech before. And if he continues to get that, we'll go and just work on the system. Let him have some other people. Let him not be the guy that has to go one-on-one. So I'm feeling him. So now Crow didn't watch the film first before he had something to say. He just said what a lot of people say. But the funniest part about the Crow, the fan base coming at Crow, is that Crow did what the fan base does. All he saw was that he was from South Alabama. Right? And we're like, why are we getting some guy from South Alabama? And I was like, man, my brother, I don't know if you've watched this, but I'm going to let my dog cook because I know how my dog be. Y'all have heard him on the show. We're going to try to get Crow on a little bit more too. But I like the addition. When I was doing some pre-talks, I kind of have an idea what we got him for. Good kudos for him. And he's coming back home. And yeah, so we got that going.
This is our last topic for our FSU section. We've been on this for a minute, but James, it looks like Pap is out of here. So for anybody who's unaware, that is the special teams and linebackers coach this year at FSU, John Papuchis. Missouri is now hiring Papuchis as an assistant coach. He, like I previously mentioned, coached special teams and linebackers this year at FSU and has worked at Maryland, UNC, and Nebraska in various special teams and defensive roles. James,
he spent New Year's. He spent right before the New Year, he was over here. He was spending a lot of good time here in Jacksonville hanging out. So kind of getting some information that we knew about. So I just, you try not to blow up somebody's spot, but like he was definitely talking to some guys, hanging out with my boy Derek Nicholson and Sabbath and a few other guys while he was over this way, over at Missouri. So a lot of people get mad when stuff happens like this, and they're like, Mike won't fire his friends or Mike can't fire somebody. But like, why fire a guy when you can give him the opportunity to like move forward? Like, I think it looks better when you see people fail up, right? And I don't think Pap actually failed. I just think he's probably not the best linebacker coach, but I think he's pretty good at special teams. And what he's able to focus on, and kudos to him. Now he has a job. He has job security for at least another 3 to 4 years. I actually like Pap. Good people. So yeah. Kudos to him and on his journey to do whatever the hell it is that he's going to be doing. If you're not at FSU, I really just personally honest to God's truth, I don't want to try to pretend to care more than what I really do.
Now we are going to discuss the college football playoff quarterfinals. So there was 4 games that occurred on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and we're going to take a look at these games to give you the rundown and what we think about those games. First things first, gonna pull up this bracket for you guys. This is the college football playoff bracket. So in the second column, you see the playoff quarterfinal matchups. Oregon defeated Texas Tech. Bama got stomped by Indiana. Ole Miss beat Georgia, and the Miami Hurricanes beat the reigning college football champions. So we are going.
Real quick question: who's Oregon's starting quarterback? Do we know? Let's look it up.
Dante Moore.
Okay, Dante Moore is somebody they recruited.
No, he was at UCLA.
Oh shit! Damn, that's crazy. That's wild. Mendoza though, right? Mendoza went to Indiana. This is his fourth year, right? At Indiana.
Nah, he was at Cal for 2 years.
Man, no way. That's unsustainable. The guy at Ole Miss, he was recruited out of high school to go to Ole Miss. He only went one stop.
Played at Ferris State for a couple years. He's a senior now.
Ferris Bueller State. I don't even know where that's at. That's crazy. So that's no way. Well, Carson, I got pictures of Carson in orange and green from as far back as 6 years ago. So Carson started off at Miami, right?
He was a Bulldog.
Miami's mascot's not the Bulldogs. They're like a crackhead crane. Wait a minute, hold up. Are you telling me that you can get to the top of college football without a recruited high school quarterback? That's madness. It's insane. That's bullshit, Jaden. You're lying to us. That's craziness. Mad talk. Texas Tech. You're telling me that all of these kids are 4 out of 4 are transfer quarterbacks. That's what you're trying to tell me. Like next, you're going to tell me that there's no team on this list that isn't over 40. That isn't over 40%. Excuse me. Yeah, 40% in starters coming from other schools. That's the next thing you're going to tell me. Like you're going to tell me that the transfer portal clearly has to be something. If this is the case, maybe it's a new part of the game. People miss on people, they move on, or they see that they're not fits, and then they go and do something else. So when all you guys who are FSU fans reminding back to you guys who are listening, who are saying that, oh, well, we got to survive in the portal. Shit, one of these teams on this bitch is at 55%. Everybody loves the Indiana coach, right? Which I do too. I think he's Nick Saban-esque in his demeanor. He's Nick Saban that knows how to recruit the transfer portal and knows how to identify talent that isn't very good. Well, not that isn't very good. Like, because he got him from technically his transfer portal. Like, it's funny to see James Madison talk about how they've been good about the transfer portal. Like, this coach didn't gut them for the transfer portal when he left last year. Like, that's the reason why they don't have a team. But, like, he took the guys that he already knew what they could do to Indiana with them. So that made sense, but still, they followed the coach. Which, again, you shouldn't follow the coach. Follow the school. Nah, bullshit. He recruited me. He told me I could go get a bag somewhere else. I'm following his ass. It's capitalism. Stop hating on them boys. Get paid on your own. But I like what they're doing. I like everyone, a lot of different styles. Ole Miss has their own issues or whatever that's going on, which I believe will let Miami moonwalk into the path. But Miami, I just want people to know portal versus against the portal. 90% of the starts that the Georgia Bulldogs have had this season come from people that Kirby Smart has hand selected out of high school. It's the way. Got a good dear friend of mine, and that was so quick to jump on. Loves Kirby. He's a Georgia. What is he? He's a Florida State Bulldog. Kirby Smart does it the best. And there's just to witness Kirby getting his ass whooped. You saw him post on there and come at me. The reality of the situation is that bitch, you got to be able to do both. Got to be able to do both now. They've gone against Miami has beaten 2 schools that Miami has recruited at a high level, but they also push people into the portal at a high level, and they utilize the portal at a high level. Miami's the 55% school. They miss me with they recruit their trenches into people. Like it's like people say shit like you can't find stuff to refute what they've said. Like it doesn't make any sense. It's just a lot of glitz and glamour. They do a good job with getting top heavy in the portal, but then they also go find the guys that they need to be able to play right now. It is a great when you actually I cover the NFL. Covering the NFL has made college football easier for me to watch, and I enjoy it a lot more than the NFL. I'm telling you, in the NFL, we have the NFL draft, and most teams are not, the winning teams aren't built in the draft anymore. They're built in finding the proper guys in free agency. But they can't score any. It was no point scored. It was just really good defense. And Carson Beck didn't fuck up. Ohio State, better quarterback. Quarterback was in the Heisman Trophy finalist, best wide receiver in the nation. They didn't fuck up. Gingerverse, but it's wild to see our fan base freak out about transfer quarterbacks when every team that wins has transfer quarterbacks. Egg fucking Zach Lee. I'm almost to the point where don't recruit a high school quarterback anymore. They're just not going to be there. You're going to end up, because like right now, you have to win now. And unfortunately, development gets messed up in all of this until you find it. I'm gonna tell you like this: it's better to go. It's a 3-pronged process, and hopefully you have these three guys on your team. I'm going to go find the best transfer portal guys so I can get some maturity. Guys, you've seen more. Hopefully you've seen more and you don't get bogged down. I'm going to try to recruit the sexy girl, knowing that if I don't get them on the field in 2 years, they're gone. I'm going to find a project, and my job is to the Ferris State guy. And my job is to make sure that person is getting as many reps in practice on scout team, quality reps, developing the fuck out of them. I would have went and got a kid, TJ Cole from Outer Range, or I would have got I can't think of the young man's name from Thomas County Central, who's one of the best teams in the nation that nobody offered. It's crazy. 2 state championship quarterbacks, nobody's really high on and going after. But I would have gone after those guys, make sure they stay in the program, make sure they're the ones I'm making them study more film. I'm making them be the guy with the laptop to be able to tell us. I am literally, and so in 3 years, if I don't find anybody, that's my guy. And that's just a intelligent way to process stuff. Keep them in tow. But anyways, my opinions on that. But that was interesting to see those things right there.
We're going to quickly run through the quarterfinal games to give you guys a quick breakdown because we know we have to discuss the NFL as well. So we're going to make sure to be timely in this section. But this was the first game in the quarterfinals. This was on New Year's Eve. This was the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic played in Dallas, Texas. Playmaker was on the sideline in Jerry's World, and it couldn't have gone better.
Good Coke, man. Good Coke.
Couldn't have gone better for Michael Irvin and the Hurricanes. Carson Beck, 19 to 26, 138 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions on the day. Julian Sain, 22-35, 287 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, playing in his first ever college football playoff game. And you can definitely tell it was his first college football playoff game, because the pressure was on. Mark Fletcher, 19 carries, 90 yards. But Shamar Brown, 5 carries, 26 yards, had a rushing touchdown. Bo Jackson, the stud freshman, 11 carries, 55 yards, and he had 1 rushing touchdown. So for your receiving core, Jeremiah Smith, 7 receptions, 157 yards, 1 touchdown, averaging 22.4 yards per reception. Carnell Tate, kind of quiet on the day with 3 receptions for 37 yards. But CJ Daniels led the Miami Hurricanes in receiving yards. But Mark Fletcher Jr. actually had the only receiving touchdown for the Hurricanes. Malachi Toney did not have the best game on box score, but definitely was a dog out there doing the intangibles like blocking for sure. One of the most ferocious blockers I have seen out there. And Mark Fletcher lost a fumble in the game, but that didn't matter because the Miami trenches took off. Caleb Downs, the number one safety in the nation, was the second leading tackler for the Buckeyes with 8 total tackles, 5 of them being solo. And then for your interceptions, Keontae Scott got one, and Jacoby Thomas got an interception on the day as well. Let's take a look at these team stats right quick. So both teams had the same amount of first downs, but take a look at the third down conversions. Ohio State had a 30% third down conversion rate compared to Miami, who had a 50% third down conversion rate. If you take a look at the total yards, Miami actually had less total yards than the Ohio State Buckeyes. You can see right there in terms of passing, the Buckeyes killed them out of the water. But in terms of rushing, the Hurricanes did the same. So when you take a look at the penalties, Miami got 0 penalties on the day, while Ohio State got 2. And Miami had 1 turnover, while the Buckeyes had 2 turnovers in this game. But James, more importantly than the win, Miami had gotten some cheddar from this win. So, according to Front Office Sports, teams that make the college football playoff semifinals earn $14 million for their conference. The ACC will give Miami all 14 million. Front Office Sports has confirmed. But going back to the game, this is our Money Move segment of the day, by the way. But transitioning back to the game, James, let's talk about Julian Sand. This was his first college football playoff game. And from the looks of it, you can definitely see that he was feeling the pressure from the Miami trenches, because the Miami trenches was the key of the game. You could see how easy that run game was flowing for the trenches on the offensive side, and how much pressure they were putting on Julian Sand on the defensive side. But what was your biggest takeaway from this Miami Ohio State game before we get into the next game?
Very, very poor offense in the NCAA, very good defense. The more you, if you're not sure, the more you try to attack in the passing game, the more you open yourself up to turnovers. And if you look at that game, the game was decided early. If you take away the pick six, and because Miami's field goal was late, you take away the pick six, and Miami doesn't beat Ohio State. They got arrogant with quarterback play. And what Miami did was they said the strength of our team is in our defense. And we're going to limit the amount of turnovers. So one of their better players and one of the most dynamic players in the nation has been Malachi Tony. But Malachi Tony has had that's gonna be the thing that might end up biting them. It's a boom or bust. He's fumbled. He's had 2 back-to-back games where he's had a lot. Well, actually, the last 3 games, because he's had some turnovers that aren't like him. And when you're playing against a team in a tough game, like that's going to be what turns it around. But what they did was they shifted back the focus. Greg Dawson has gone back to say, all right, here's what we're going to do. And their defense, and I'm just not going to put our defense in a bad spot until I have to open it up. And as long as the defense is getting stops and hurting them, all of my Ohio State was down the field, not attacking, and not even really, to be honest with you. Jeremiah Smith was kind of taken out of the game in the first half. He had 2 big plays that were Jeremiah Smith plays, but it wasn't. You can look at the numbers and say that he dominated. He did not. It doesn't look like that. I can tell you that much. He made some really good catches, spectacular catches, but there was no real game plan to make sure he exploited the Miami defense. Miami's defense did very well against Ohio State and just bringing pressure. After that, my joke was like, damn, we ain't even look that bad against Miami compared to Ohio State. But in Miami did have an opportunity to reset the goddamn PlayStation on them. And when you think about how bad people say their schedule is, it looked like they played some more fiercer opponents than Ohio State. And I will have James Senior on here. Wait a minute. The game is on Wednesday, right? The next game.
So the semifinals for the playoffs start on January 8th at 7:30 p.m. That is Ole Miss at versus Miami, and then the ninth, and that is Oregon versus
Yeah, that's
Indiana.
Wednesday. Wednesday in Phoenix. I may try to check that game out. I have to get my dad on so he can brag. But he said they had not ever seen that kind of speed before, and that's really what it came down to: was speed, speed, speed. But going back to the 14, the money that Miami has earned, right? Miami has earned this bread. Um, um, because of FSU's and Clemson's push. So everybody's like, oh, they're getting, but Miami's barely getting anything from the TV deal. So the contract that we have with the ACC isn't bad if we're doing what the fuck we're supposed to do. We're the most viewed. Now, what will suck is next year Miami's going to get more eyes on them because of this. But it takes a 5-year average, so we got a little bit of cushion right now. But we're going to get paid. It's basically going to bring us and Miami about even. Maybe Miami might make a little bit more because they've won more games in this, but it's going to be right around even based upon what the TV distributions are going to be. So it's nothing to really overly panic about.
Moving on with these games, let's discuss the first blowout in the college football quarterfinals, and it was on a familiar team FSU had faced at the season opener. That is none other than the Bama and Indiana game, if you want to call it a game. So the Alabama Crimson Tide, the ninth ranked squad, came into the playoffs and they had to face the Indiana Hoosiers, but Indiana beat them by 35 points in Pasadena at the Rose Bowl. Indiana defeated the Roll Tide, the Crimson Tide, 38-3. Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman winner, 14 to 16, 192 yards and 3 touchdowns on the day. Efficient as you can get. But Ty Simpson, 12 of 16, 67 yards on the day. They even put in their second string quarterback, Austin Mack, to get in some reps as well. But not too much to discuss in this game. Indiana beat them on all fronts. It wasn't close at all. At halftime, the score was 17-0, and then it just kept getting worse for Alabama and company. But James, do you see Indiana being the national champions this year? Because man, they've been putting on a show, and you can see why they're the number one ranked squad in the nation, especially with Ohio State losing to Miami.
Yeah, I definitely could see it. One of the things is that Miami is a good team. They can't score. Indiana is basically a disciplined team that isn't trying to score points on you in bunches. They're going to like that defense is flying around. They have not seen the speed. Well, I mean, they will see that. Well, they have seen it. Oregon's got speed. They beat Oregon. Alabama's supposed to have speed. Alabama has Ryan Wilson when we started Ryan Williams, excuse me. When we started the year, everybody said that he was number 2 to Jeremiah Smith. When we found out that number 5 on their team might be the best wide receiver, and they shut that down. With Alabama having one of the best offensive lines in the nation, that's all everybody told us about. Bama should not have been in that situation though, but they just methodically wore them down and took advantage of every opportunity that they had. I think that they're going to make a movie about Signetti.
Just to give you guys some quick numbers, Bama had 193 total yards of offense, while Indiana had 407. So if you're wondering what the difference is between 193 and 407, that is 214 yards of difference between Alabama and Indiana. And Alabama only had 23 rushing yards on the day compared to Indiana having 215 rushing yards. Both teams were penalized once during the game, and Indiana had 9 more minutes of possession than the Crimson Tide. But it was a blowout. Indiana defeated them on all sides of the ball, all three sides of the ball. And from one blowout, we're going to go to the next. So, in the college football quarterfinals, we had this blowout, and then we had the Oregon and Texas Tech game. Oregon defeated Texas Tech 23-0. Oregon in the Big 10, Texas Tech in the Big 12. Texas Tech was the Big 12 champs. The Oregon Ducks were not the Big 10 champs because that went to Indiana. But looking at this game, Dante Moore, transfer portal quarterback who was at UCLA, 26 of 33, 234 yards, 0 passing touchdowns, 1 interception. Jordan Davison, 15 carries, 42 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns on the day as well. And those were your scores coming from the Oregon side of the ball. At halftime, it was 6-0 in favor of Oregon. And then Oregon just continued to score 17 points while they held Texas Tech to 0 points. Texas Tech could not get that ball in the end zone or get that ball through the field goal uprights. Texas Tech had 215 total yards, while Oregon had 309 yards on the day. And take a look at the passing numbers. Oregon had 108 more passing yards, but Oregon had 14 less rushing yards than the Red Raiders. But in terms of penalties, Red Raiders got penalized 3 more times than the Ducks, losing 11 more yards. But man, take a look at these turnovers. Oregon had 1 interception, courtesy of Dante Moore, but Texas Tech had 2 fumbles and 2 INTs thrown. Now, a lot of people were expecting Oregon to win, but I don't think they expected them to win in this shutout fashion. Game was 23-0 in the Capital One Orange Bowl, was played in Miami, Florida. But James, Texas Tech season ended on a shutout.
And it is, again, Texas Tech, one of the teams that threw money around, and they got what was necessary out of it. But you still gotta be able to go out there and have a well balanced team. You can't just, like, it's styles make fights, and that's what makes the playoffs fun, because you see regionality go up against different things. So Oregon, well coached team, Dan Lanning, good defense. I liked it. Good, and again, it just goes to James Madison scored more points. Like, you can't keep saying that the G5 schools, when they get blown out, they don't get, but you can't bring up Alabama. Alabama didn't deserve to be in. Texas Tech did, based on what but you can't say BYU didn't deserve to get in, because BYU could have probably fared better than Bama did. And it's just a lot of different bullshit that's going on with the rhetoric that's not consistent. It's not a consistent line of thinking. And hopefully this season gives other people the balls to stand up and just say, hey, man, fuck just giving this to the SEC and the AC. I mean, the Big Ten and the SEC. Let's make the best teams out there. So, love it.
Now we are going to go to a highly, highly, highly interesting game that occurred on New Year's Day between the Ole Miss Rebels and the Georgia Bulldogs. Kirby Smith and company did lose to the Lane Kiffin-less Ole Miss Rebels. So Ole Miss, let's start off with the winners and their quarterback. Trinidad Chambliss, 30 of 46, 362 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Definitely clutch when the team needed him the most. Gunnar Stockton, 18 of 31, 203 yards, and 1 touchdown on the day. Kawan Lacey, one of the college's best running backs, 22 carries, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns on the day. But Gunnar Stockton had 2 rushing touchdowns of his own in this game as well. So going into halftime, UGA was actually up 21-12, but Ole Miss continued to dominate and got themselves a win. So in terms of receiving touchdowns, Harrison Wallace and Luke Hass had 2 receiving touchdowns for the Ole Miss Rebels, and the Bulldogs had 1 receiving touchdown courtesy of Zachariah Branch. So we're going to take a look at the fumbles for the game. There was 1 lost fumble on each side of the game. And for your team stats, here you go right here. Ole Miss had 130 more total yards than the Georgia Bulldogs, but they both had the same amount of first downs, and their third down conversion numbers weren't the prettiest. Ole Miss was 5 of 14, less than 50%, and Georgia was 3 of 13, way less than 50% on converting those third downs, but Ole Miss was 50% on converting fourth downs, and Georgia was around 2/3 of a percent in their fourth down conversions. Take a look at the rushing stats. Similar numbers, only a difference of 13 yards, but the biggest difference is those air yards. Both teams were penalized 4 times throughout the day, and both teams had a fumble lost in the game as well. But Ole Miss found a way to win this game despite having 5 less minutes of time of possession than the Georgia Bulldogs. Kirby and company did lose. And James, before you get into your thoughts and opinions on this game, we actually have some breaking news regarding Trinidad Chambliss, courtesy of somebody in the chat letting us know. I had to do my quick research, but it is officially official. Trinidad Chambliss has agreed to a new deal with Ole Miss pending his eligibility waiver request being granted. Chambliss is seeking a 6th season of eligibility. So he has agreed to a new deal pending his eligibility waiver request being granted. So it looks like, from what it seems, Trinidad Chambliss is coming back to the Ole Miss Rebels. And James, there has been a lot of controversy surrounding the Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin situation, especially with him not coaching the team in the playoffs. But we have actually found out that Ole Miss told him that they didn't want him coaching in the playoffs. But let's take a look at his staff as well. So Charlie Weiss Jr., well, former staff, was the only assistant who went with Lane Kiffin to LSU, who is back on campus Saturday morning at Ole Miss, sources told Chris Lowe. However, Kevin Smith told On3 that he's committed to staying on in his role as the Rebels running back coach throughout the playoffs. I'm going to finish the job and do my job here at LSU. So it seems like people were going with Lane to LSU, but some people on his former staff wanted to make sure that they could stay with the team as long as they could to wish them and coach them into success in their playoffs, since they're currently in the playoffs and they continue to push on.
Somebody in the chat said Trinidad James got his the way ESPN said the waiver did get granted. So we got to get all gold everything. But this is cool. This is like a story. Like, one, I don't really have a dog in the fight, but fuck Lane Kiffin with Magic's dick. Like, one, you made a poor decision. You got this bad boy cooking right now, right? And you decided to go to LSU. And you didn't think that this would happen. You thought it was just about you. And this is why I always tell people, like, perfect example of is Jimmy's and Joe's. Now, don't get me wrong. Actually, Lane Kiffin, I'd argue that they would not be this far in the playoffs if Lane Kiffin was at the helm. They're winning despite you. You're getting a check and you're still a big ass hater. Because, Lane's getting paid each round they win as a bonus because he's the head coach. And it's bothering his egotistical, the ego inside of him. He can't fathom that this person could be successful without them. And they're just like, all right, cool. And the guys are like, we gonna finish what we started. Then we'll go figure out what the fuck we're gonna do after that. Like, you went to LSU to rebuild instead of staying with what you built. And you probably should have been. There's an argument that they should have been in the college football playoff last year, which is kind of what Alabama was like, see, Ole Miss was better than everybody, and y'all let them out. Y'all put some sorry ass motherfuckers in. Ole Miss this year is taking it to the next level. Got a great story, great players, offense that puts up, defense that does enough. And with those two guys staying, it really makes it interesting. Because what happens if Ole Miss stops them and then they score on Miami? And then they stop them again and they get up, like, just not even a lot, just like, even if it's like a 9-point lead, it makes the game interesting. And Ole Miss is the team that could do it. So what if Ole Miss wins again and it goes to the Natty? That's another week without having your staff in place. And another week that you got to sit there and watch them beat your ass. I love it. It's one of those stories. You can't tell me that story isn't cool. I like it. Like, it's all the things that are wrong. Lane Kiffin, for all the things that everybody puts on the kids, right? On the players. Nobody talks about how the coaches are what's wrong with college football. That's what's out of control. This story in of itself is showing you your hypocrisy, that you're mad that little boys are actually exploiting the system that's exploited them for decades. And that's what we want to fight. And then not the coaches who get paid $10 million to leave a good place. And that school is still having to pay him. Like, Lane Kiffin's getting a bag.
Lane Kiffin has received $500,000 in total college football payout bonuses from Ole Miss, despite not being their coach anymore. Lane Kiffin will be paid $250,000 for Ole Miss's victory over Georgia, despite not coaching a single down. And Kiffin is up to $500,000 so far because he got $250,000 for Ole Miss making the playoffs. Another $250,000 for Ole Miss beating Georgia, and he will get even more money if they make it to the championship, and he'll get another bonus if they actually win the championship as well. So if they get their foot in the door in the championship, Lane Kiffin will still get a bonus from Ole Miss. But they say it's the kids, James, but he's taken a lot of money from the school, and that could have been a couple of dogs Ole Miss could have had on their roster. You see that green amount right there, $500K. That is a lot, especially considering he does have a buyout with Ole Miss. They paid you to leave, and they're paying you because you're not there. And I don't know. It's just, it's confusing. It's just really confusing.
It's very confusing. And like people saw, if you can't play in the bowl game, you shouldn't get any check. If you can't coach in the bowl game, you shouldn't get paid. Like, it's so many things that you can fix, and it'll be palatable if you fix it at the top first. But don't tell me that I got to do something that you're not even willing. Like, don't try to govern the thousands when you can't govern the hundreds. It's not just him; it's the other staff too. Everybody has escalators in their contracts. Put a cap on coaches' spending and make it all incentive based upon them coaching, and I guarantee you'll see NIL get changed. But that's not a good story. You know why it's not a good story? Because whether you want to believe it or not, our country was built. And again, this is not me hating the country, but our country was built on the backs of built on and keeping the bottom. I'm not even going to say enslavement. I'm not even saying making this a black and white thing. Capitalism does not exist if you don't have a permanent underclass. You have to have somebody who you build your stuff on the backs of. That's the only way capitalism works. So when you can't, attacking Lane Kiffin is just like attacking the top 1% in our society. where it's easier to do that. But no, we have to make it, oh, well, they don't deserve it. Like, I remember hearing this dumb shit like, well, what are they going to do with taxes? The same thing everybody else does with taxes. Hire a fucking accountant. Like, you're literally trying to force it could be so much easier. Cap it at $5 million and then make it to where you can pay the coach $11 million if you want to, if they're winning. You probably don't remember. We never got it on camera, but Miles, me and Greg talked about this with what he did with Mark Richt at Georgia. Greg McGarity, who's the president of the CEO, was the guy who restructured Mark Richt's contract to be able to fire him and then hire Kirby Smart over at Georgia. Good friend of mine. He said, we're not paying you this. You haven't earned this. But what we'll do is I'll pay you more if you get to the national championship. I'll pay you double if you get to the national championship. If you believe in yourself, you'll take that bet. But that's not the case. Everybody wants guaranteed money. The players want guaranteed money, just like the coaches want guaranteed money. Yeah, and you know okay, they might have a heart attack because they got stress, but bitch, like that's it. Ain't nobody hitting you. We had a bunch of guys who got season-ending injuries in the last game, so they can't even play next season. Right. And you want to tell them these kids are greedy, man? The hardest thing about your job is carpal fucking tunnel. It's an injury you could get for beating your meat too hard. It's the same, like that's what some of y'all stuff is, man. Like, I don't like that shit. I like capitalism. Pure, unadulterated. That's what makes America great. But the problem is with America, again, the only thing more exceptional than American exceptionalism is American exceptionalism to hate. You must hate the person that is right next to you, that you could go be great at something. You just chose to not be great at it. Like when the media guys get mad at me for telling the truth, you could have ran your head into another motherfucker at 20 miles per hour too. You chose not to. You picked up the pen. And good kudos for you. The problem is I could go hit a motherfucker and pick up a pen, and that makes you mad. You could go do all of this stuff. You chose to study. They chose to study and hit stuff. It's just the way the game go. I ain't getting, just, again, you can tell a lot about people by who their favorite rappers are or who they listen to a lot. And when I want to get business advice, I listen to the guy who I would want way more. I'd rather be old rich him than new broke you. And that's a Jay-Z bar. Respect the game. That should be it. What you eat don't make me shit. I don't care if another person makes millions and millions of dollars if it didn't come out of my pocket. I have never seen more people mad about NIL when it absolutely does not affect them. In fact, it is rich people who, like, you are literally telling people who have money that made a ton of money that what they can do with their money that you'll never be able to take care of, never even be able to fathom how to do that. They make your family's net worth they pay your family's net worth in taxes. The reality of the situation is a lot of this shit is a write-off. And no, they don't want to give to the United Negro College Fund. They want to give to the Negroes on the football field. And I'm okay with that. No, they don't want to give to the Children's Hospital. They want to give to the guy who's putting people in the hospital. And I'm okay with that. The money's going somewhere. It's just not going to you because you're not exceptional at anything. I'm sorry. I'm saying this to you in love, whoever's receiving this. This isn't me hating on you. You're just not good. You're replaceable. Actually, everybody is replaceable. But the good find a way to get another job. That's why I never. Well, I mean, I think I was technically 10-10 didn't fire me, but like I didn't sweat that shit. Have made more money. Hey, look at Shannon Sharp got exposed by a young thought that was eating his ass. It got fired. And have you seen Shannon? All Shannon Sharp has done now is grow a beard and make more money. His beard is weird. That beard looks so weird on Shannon. Like he needs. Go ahead and shave the damn beard. And I can't believe like he paid her $10 million to eat his ass. That's crazy, dog. Like, and y'all want to talk about unfair? That's the shit that's unfair. That's the real shit. We should all be kumbaya and coming against these young thoughts on the come up. These nut ass freak bulls getting paid. Like I'm gotta watch this Diddy documentary because Diddy's a terrible person, but so is the bitch that got paid. And what was it? That the cat? It's not Cassidy. What's the shit? What Cassie? That's it. Cassie. Cassie's a terrible person too, but she got immunity and like $30 million. Everybody, yeah, all y'all guilty. Y'all knew he was over there being a nut ass freak bull.
For real, just keeping the secret so y'all can.
So you get paid, and then when it was no longer, then when he didn't want to wife your nasty ass, now you got a problem.
I do want to find out about the Kid Cudi stuff because that seems crazy.
Kid Cudi, again, dog, I'm telling you, man, it's stuff. I can get into that, but like things happen. Like somebody do something strange to you and then leave for another dude. Man, fuck that.
So,
so you did. Puffy, not a real dude, but like he's rich. Imagine somebody doing some nut ass freak bullshit to you, and now they the only person on the planet. They got to go. You got to die. All right. Anyways, next thing. Bottom line is it'll be Miami, Indiana. Sorry, Jaden.
So Ole Miss is going to face off against Miami January 8th at 7:30 p.m. and then Oregon will face off against Indiana. They did play at the beginning of the season. Indiana came out on top 30-20, and they're going to be playing on January 9th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And these are your two matchups in the 2025-2026 college football playoff semifinals. It's almost to an end. But these are your four teams remaining in the college football playoffs. So we spent a lot of time on college. So now let's talk about the NFL. We're going to start off with the home team, Jacksonville's team, 904's team, and that is the Jacksonville Jaguars. So the Jaguars put BTA on their division rivals, the Tennessee Titans, yesterday, 41-7. Jaguars actually clinched the AFC South with this win. The Jaguars are your 2025 AFC South champion. This is the Jaguars' 5th division title, and the AFC South runs through Jacksonville. So we are your 2025 AFC South champions. And let's take a look at Trevor Lawrence because he has been arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the back half of this season. This was his throwing chart against the Titans. He completed 22 of 30 passes for 255 yards and 3 touchdowns in the Jaguars' Week 18 division clinching win. Lawrence generated plus 20.3 expected points added on his dropbacks, his second most in any game of his career, behind only Week 15 against the Jets. We're going to come back and talk about the Jets because, whew, man, they have been getting some horrible historical numbers. And this is Trevor Lawrence's passing chart right here. 3 touchdowns on the day, 0 interceptions, was spreading the ball out on all sides and parts of the field. But Trevor has been doing his thing out there for the Jaguars. And we're going to actually take a look at some more posts regarding this because Trevor isn't the only one who has been balling. I know you say these aren't real people, James, but he has been putting up some real facts and some real accolades in the NFL because Cam Little hit a 67 yard field goal against the Titans. So Cam Little now owns the 2 longest field goals in
You know, I
NFL
said that
history.
on the news last night, right, Jaden? Yep.
No, I
Said
didn't.
Cam is. Cam is. So kickers aren't people, but Cam Little is a person. He's a little person, but he is. Did you know this? That the Jaguars, Cam Little, owns the record for the longest field goal indoors and outdoors in a regular season game or preseason game or postseason game. He also owns the record for the longest field goal in a preseason game. Like the boy he was acting a little different earlier. Everybody on that act right now. So I love it. Like all they got to do is get like imagine a world where you can get to all you got to do is get, because I sent you the kick, right, Jaden?
I don't think so.
I thought I sent it to you in text when I was in the press box, but like, bro, that thing went 4 yards past. Are you in theory? If you get to your, to your 45, you're in point range. You're in scoring range. That's insane. So where is that? They were on the 49. I think they gave him a little bit. I think they gave him a little. They gave him an extra yard, but because the 50 is 70. Yeah, the 50 gets you because you got 10-yard end zone, so that's 60. You're 7 yards back. So that should give you, unless they know he goes 8 yards back, but I don't think that would be the only team that does that. Traditionally, it's 7 yards, but being on the 50 would have made it a 67, unless they're saying he was like that close. He was closer to the 50 than he was the 49, but it was a very impressive kick, man. Like very impressive. I'm impressed all around by the Jags.
You did send me the video, my bad. I just couldn't tell they were kicking the field goal, but you've had it in frame for a little bit, so now I saw what you sent me. But you did send me the video, and yes, Cam Little is him for sure. And he's not the only one who we're gonna shout out, because shout out the whole Jaguars front office and coaching staff. A lot of first year positions on staff, especially Liam Cohen, the OC, the DC, the GM, the executive VP. Everybody's been doing their thing, but the Jaguars now join the 2025 Patriots and the 1999 Colts as the only teams in NFL history to win 13 plus games one season after losing 13 plus games the season before. But the Jaguars is a little bit different than the Patriots this year for scheduling reasons, for personnel reasons. So for us, no bias, this means a little bit more because, man, the Jaguars have had a crazy turnaround in terms of players and in terms of performance. And just want to shout out everybody who's been making it happen out there for the Jaguars. So shout out to those guys. And James, we're going to actually have to shout out another Jaguars player because he got some bread. So according to Adam Schefter, Jaguars reached an agreement today with offensive line Cole Van Lannon on a 3-year, $51 million extension. That includes $32.5 million guaranteed. So the deal could be worth up to $55.5 million with incentives. Jaguars have to figure out who they're going to keep in free agency, James. I know ETN is going to be up. I know Tim Patrick's going to be up. De'Ami Brown, a couple other players off the top of my head are in free agency this year. And we paid Jacoby Myers, paying Cole Van Lannon. So we're going to have to really be cognizant of who are we going to give that check to in this free agency. But James, what are your thoughts on the Jaguars books and where they're going to go from here in terms of player acquisitions?
Well, they got they have 2 franchise tags that I really do believe they'll probably use. They may try to give ETN 1 more year, and so they'll tag him, but I do believe they'll tag Devin Lloyd. And then I think they'll try to take some people's contracts and make them bonuses. Again, salary cap only exists for those who want to believe in it, like believe in Santa, Jesus, Tooth Fairy, and salary cap. Those are all things that when you become an adult, you should kind of start poking holes in those things, because teams make room all the time when they want to make room. So it is very interesting. But you're right, they got to figure out, because there's some pieces in free agency where they're going to want to be able to get better. But that's where we're going to see where the boy genius really is, if he's really like that. Because right now they're all winning, so that's kind of cool.
So with the Jaguars, I know everybody's excited about the playoffs and who the Jaguars are going to match up against. But James, don't spoil it. We're actually going to come to the playoff portion of the show once we get past the slate of games from this weekend. We're going to discuss the matchups, the potential winners of those matchups, and how the playoffs will fare on the AFC and the NFC. But we're going to come back to that, because first we are going. Oh, my bad. Did I say something?
No. My bad.
Okay.
I was reading my text. You're fine.
Okay. So we're actually gonna keep on moving on with these games. And if you guys are wondering, we aren't gonna discuss the Saturday games because the Sunday games had a direct impact on the records and the standings of the games that happened on Saturday. So we're gonna be doing a little back and forth here for you guys. And we're gonna start off with the NFC South. The Atlanta Falcons beat the New Orleans Saints at at Atlanta. Atlanta finished 19-7, beating their division rival, the New Orleans Saints. But James, this game had a lot of repercussions. So with the Falcons win over the Saints, the Panthers have clinched the NFC South for the first time since 2015. So if the Falcons lost to the Saints, the Bucs would have been in. But the Panthers have now clinched the NFC South with the Falcons win over the Saints. And James, shortly after this game, there was some groundbreaking news. According to Adam Schefter, the Falcons had fired head coach Raheem Morris. Raheem Morris is now out as the Falcons head coach, and he isn't the only one who is out of a job in the Falcons organization, because the Falcons also fired their general manager as well, triggering big time changes after a challenging season in Atlanta. And then Ari Meroff actually told us some more information regarding the Falcons, because Rich McKay, the CEO of the Falcons, is no longer there. The Falcons will be adding a president of football position who will have the primary decision-making authority for the team. So the Falcons are now employing separate search firms to identify their next head coach and GM, who will report to the president of football, who will have final authority over all football divisions. So it looks like the Falcons are doing a clean sweep in their organization. Looks like they're trying to make some big changes from the top down. But James, the Panthers are your NFC South champions as a result of this game. Bryce Young and company are going to be going into the playoffs.
Arthur Blank said, "I'm sick of this shit. This goddamn DEI shit. This is what I get for not listening to my brothers." Now, I really think he should have gave him one more year. I think when you look at how the Falcons ended their season, like they were trending, like they were beating some good teams. Like you could clearly see that they were improving, and you could clearly see there was a lot of injuries. But we knew this day was going to happen at the draft. Like if you clip this, Miles, go find what that room looked like when they drafted Michael Penix.
Oh, that when they had all the black coaches.
Yeah, and then all the white people were like, don't like this. This doesn't look right. It's just they're right. There's no way that people are going to pay this. Like it is not fair to the white guys. It's not fair to the black coaches either, but it's definitely, they're gonna be like, it's the facial expressions in the room. And it looked like Blank looked at Terry Fontenay and said, "You better be fucking right." That's what it looked like he said. Like, cause you know, it's funny to me because of the unspoken words in all of these different things. But it's just also just but all good. He's a good. You got, remember, Raheem's the one that was it Raheem? That's not his real name. His name is actually blacker than Raheem. Yeah, hold on. It's Raheem Morris, right?
Yeah, his name is actually not Raheem. His first name is not Raheem. That's his middle name. His full name is Degenhold Raheem Morris. He's from Jersey.
It's not Dejanold. He that H that Jaden put in there, that H is clearly in there.
DeJohn Holt?
It's maybe DeJohn Holt. But I like the way you said it. Dejanold. 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 Dejanold.
However you say it, it's fired.
That bitch from Irvington, New Jersey. That's wild to be 50 years old with a name like Dejanold.
Yeah. Right, they are trending. Sucks that they are trending up. And they didn't. What you gonna do without your?
Yeah, I definitely felt like Morris and the GM's career was dependent on Penix's career, which is hard because it's hard to depend your career on somebody who was injury prone, had major injuries in college, especially below the belt injuries, and now obviously dealing with those same type of injuries in the league. And
I mean, look at my dog AR. AR got a man fired his rookie year. So I mean, it's just, you know, Dejanol was dead man walking, man. But Dejanol's a good DC, so they're gonna give him a job somewhere. He'll be a DC. Terry Fontenay will go back. Like, you get one thing that people don't realize with the NFL is like, you don't, like, once you're in, you gotta be really bad to not stay employed. So, like, got his job, got his head coaching job, he'll go somewhere else, be a good DC again, and then, like, he'll maybe get a shot in 10 years again. Like, I just don't like it, the fact that now we got all of our black coaches are endangered right now. Tampa Bay. Yeah, like you got Bowles, you got
McDaniels, if you want to count
our quarterback, Mike, he's experiencing racism in Miami.
D'Amico's fine.
Yeah, D'Amico's good. D'Amico's good. My guy up in Tomlin's fine.
Tomlin's good now. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. That Sunday night game we're gonna get into as well.
Oh no, just thinking about it. You know what? Those guys, all the guys who got fired are on the hot seat right now, potentially getting fired. You know what they all place their faith in? A black quarterback. Mike McDaniel placed this. This is two black coaches that Tua Tagovailoa might get fired. Like, just saying. Sometimes you gotta like when they're like, when we get them jobs, you're like, man, you ain't looking out for us, man. You in that speed. I ain't trying to lose my job. Y'all ain't looking out for me. You gotta draft a black quarterback and say, hey, who are you trying to get fired, me or you? And you better go out there, get you a Matty. You should have played Matty Ice earlier. And you Dejanode. I'm just joking. I'm clearly, all jokes really don't.
Matty Ice, aka Matt Ryan, is expected to take a high-ranking front office position with the Falcons organization as well. There's been some talks circulating the internet about Matt actually joining the Falcons managerial staff. So we could see Matty Ice be suited and booted in the Falcons upper roles, but we'll keep you guys updated on that. But most importantly, we have to discuss the greatest part of this last week of games, and this is going to the Browns versus Bengals game because Myles Garrett has done it. So the Browns and company actually defeated the Bengals 20-18, but that's not the most important fact of the day. Myles Garrett has a new NFL record, for the most sacks in a single season. He beat out Michael Strahan and TJ Watt, if I'm not mistaken. And he now has the NFL single season sack record with 23 sacks on the year. So these are the quarterbacks who felt Myles Garrett's pain. So starting off with Joe Burrow. And then, Lamar and Drake May got the worst of worst. Drake May got sacked 5 times against the Browns in week 8. Well, against Myles Garrett, I should say, in week 8. And Lamar Jackson got sacked 4 times by Myles Garrett in week 11. But Myles Garrett has done it. He has done the unthinkable, a record that many think wouldn't have been broken. But Myles Garrett, broke the record. So shout out to Myles Garrett on getting 23 sacks and breaking that NFL record. Did you ever see this record being broken, James?
I mean, yeah, because just the way the NFL goes, and he's a freak athlete, but you might want to triple team that guy. But yeah, I don't really. Outside of that, he's pretty damn good.
One of the best defenders in this generation. Think definitely top 3 defenders in this generation. Got Aaron Donald, got Myles Garrett, and whoever else you want to throw in. It could be TJ Watt, whoever, but he is making that list because his name is in the history book. So shout out to Myles Garrett on doing the unthinkable. And the Browns have actually won their last 2 games of the season. They finished the season 5-12, however, but they have won their last 2 games, both against division rivalry opponents, beating the Steelers and beating the Cincinnati Bengals as well. So that's your update on Cleveland versus Cincinnati. And we're not going to discuss the Buffalo and the New York Jets game into detail because it was a BTA session for the Bills. The Bills defeated the Jets 35-8 in the AFC East Division matchup, but we have got to send some flowers or send some cards or something to Aaron Glenn and company because they have been on the wrong side of history. So Jets go the entire season without an INT. So this is the first team since interceptions were recorded in 1933 to go without an interception in the entire season. 17 games, 0 picks. First team since interceptions were logged to do this. So he's making history, James, but it looks like he's on the other side of history. And Aaron Glenn, first year head coach for the New York Jets. Man, he has been going through it.
Tough. Got one of the best viral dances though.
What?
You don't remember when he was just jamming? Tough year, no quarterback play, owner not really into it. Jets been bad for a while, man. Like they're not the favorite New York team. No matter how, the Giants got Super Bowl, so that kind of. The Jets have won, but it's just I used to be a Jets fan. But
Whoa.
yeah, I like the Jets. I don't know. I think it's the colors. I don't know. I don't really know. No, I like they had Vinny. They had no Cordell was a Steeler. They had Curtis Martin.
Curtis Martin.
Mm-hmm. Keyshawn Johnson for years. Like just throw me the damn ball was the book he wrote when he was the #1 overall pick. They've had some good guys. Just bad luck. So yeah.
Can you guess who this quarterback is, James? 14-3 record, 3,674 pass yards, 36 pass touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a passer rating of
There's
110.9.
no way Drake May hasn't thrown an
Yeah, I was
interception.
about to say, I was saying Drake May, but
Well, you guys are both wrong because actually, if you guys didn't know, this is every quarterback versus the
Oh,
Jets this season.
okay. Okay. I was about to say, damn, dog. I was like, I know this is impossible to not throw one interception.
So this is the stat lines for every quarterback that went up against the Jets this season, noting the 36 passing touchdowns and 0 interceptions. I'm surprised the Jets even got 3 wins this season, but hey, they at least got out of here with something. But man, sending some patience and interceptions to the New York Jets team right there. And James, our boy, had a long tweet to say NIL Jermaine Johnson II. He said, quote, "Thank you to all y'all Jets fans, man. I know this sucked. I'm a Jets fans too, and I have a direct hand in the process of changing this thing around. I will attack the S out of this offseason, do everything in my power as long as I'm a Jet to get on the right page. I promise y'all that y'all will continue to get my all. I'm grateful to have y'all cheering us on. Seeing my jersey in the stands, kids begging me for my gloves or autographs, all of y'all that travel to the away games and cheer us on. Man, I see it all and don't take it for granted. That's why I love being a Jet and why I love laying it all out there. Y'all make it worth every drop of blood, sweat, and all the tears. Till next year, I'll be working. We all will be. Y'all just keep being y'all. Love."
Well, I love statements like this, but I also know it's a business. So when this man leaves, they're gonna bring this up to him. So like, just like, I don't like. I love the fact that he doesn't like losing. So kudos to my guy. That's my guy. I like Jermaine. I like his dad. Dad, real good people.
Let's get into the Sunday night showdown between the AFC North division rivals that is the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. John Harbaugh has been the coach for the Baltimore Ravens for 18 seasons, and Mike Tomlin has been the coach for the Steelers for 19 seasons. And this was a great game because this was a win or go home game for each team. And it looks like the Ravens are going home because the Pittsburgh Steelers have won, and they are your 2025 AFC North Division champions. Pittsburgh finishes the season 10-7, and looks like Mike T is going into the playoffs. Mike Tomlin and company earned the 4th seed in the AFC since they did win the division, and each of the 1 through 4 seeds are the division winners. So they took the last division winner spot. So let's get into the box score because this was a crazy, crazy game, especially in the 4th quarter for everybody who didn't watch this game. This game came down to a field goal, but most importantly, it came down to a missed field goal. So we are going to look at this game. Lamar Jackson, 11-18, 238 yards. He averaged 13.2 yards per completion. He threw for 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. Got sacked 3 times, though. Aaron Rodgers went 31 of 47 passing attempts for 294 yards, 1 touchdown on the day, and got sacked twice. So Derrick Henry, all hail to the king. 20 carries for 126 yards on the day, but he had 0 rushing touchdowns. And Kenneth Gainwell and Connor Hayward actually had the 2 sole rushing touchdowns for the Steelers. Take a look at the receiving corps. Zay Flowers, 4 receptions, 138 yards. Definitely killing the defense in the middle of the field yesterday. He had 2 receiving touchdowns, and Devontae Walker had 2 receptions for 46 yards and 1 touchdown. Isaiah Likely had 2 receptions for 32 yards, but his reception in the 4th quarter to put the Ravens in field goal range was supremely impressive and could have had them get that dub. But Kenneth Gainwell led the Pittsburgh receiving corps, but Calvin Austin actually had the sole receiving touchdown for the Steelers. Steelers still without DK Metcalf because he was serving his 2-game suspension for the fiasco with the Lions fans. So this was DK Metcalf's second game. He would have been suspended, and which resulted him not playing in this game. Definitely felt his absence in the red zone as well. Definitely a big target in the red zone. And just take a look at these numbers. The Ravens had 12 less first downs than the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Ravens were 4 of 12 on converting third downs. That's just 33%. While the Pittsburgh Steelers were over 50% in their third down conversions, but Ravens were 100% on fourth down conversions, while the Steelers were 50%. The Ravens ran 48 total plays, while the Steelers ran 73, 25 more plays than the Baltimore Ravens. But the Steelers had 31 more total yards of offense than the Baltimore Ravens. So taking a look at the passing numbers, less than 100 yards difference between the passing numbers for the Steelers and the Ravens, as well as the rushing numbers as well. But the biggest difference is in those passing numbers. You see 290 compared to 222. And both teams had their fair share of penalties, but the Ravens had more penalties, accumulating 9 penalties, losing 78 yards, while the Steelers accumulated 5 penalties, losing 45 yards. And the Ravens had an INT in the game as well. And this was at the beginning of the third quarter. Lamar was attempting to pass it to Mark Andrews, but did get intercepted on this. The Ravens not making the playoffs. Ravens finished 8 of 9 on the season. Lamar was banged up during this season, however, but I can only feel for him and the Ravens. So we're going to get into some posts regarding this game and some players. We're going to start off with the Ravens since their season has come to an end. So let's shout out the king. All hail King Henry, because Derrick Henry has recorded his 5th career season with at least 1,500 rush yards. He ties Barry Sanders for the most such seasons in NFL history. James, where is Derrick Henry ranking in the all-time greats in NFL running backs? Because he's approaching records that many people can't say they've done, and he definitely has the frame for it.
Yeah, man, it's tough. Hold on. Man, he's not Barry. They're not. This is because it's different styles, but he's better than Eric Dickerson, in my opinion. Can we get a list? Top 10. Just let me just say top 10 all-time rushers. We just keep it simple like that. I like him better than I like Adrian Peterson. Again, this is not me saying these guys aren't good. This is when it's really difficult to narrow down like Barry Sanders is I'm going to treat Barry Sanders like people treat Michael Jordan. There will never be a better person than Barry Sanders to me. That's why. Oh man. Okay.
Oh man, I don't.
Yeah, number 1 is top 10, but he's definitely not my favorite.
Yeah, Tyler.
Frank Gore shouldn't be there.
Tyler.
This is only by rushing yards.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay,
I'm Jim Brown. So with this, Jim Brown would be up there. I like Juice. So let me go through my time. So Jim Brown. Now this isn't in order. Obviously, Barry Sanders, Jim Brown. I'm gonna give sweetness his dude. Emmitt Smith. LT. I said OJ already, right?
yes.
I did. So all right, OJ Simpson. I mean that's Juice, but OJ Simpson.
Well, easier question is, does he make your top 10 all time?
Yeah, no, I was reading. Yeah, he'd be like my 7th.
Okay, nice.
Longevity, the fact that he was the centerpiece, like Barry Sanders was, of most of the offenses that he's been a part of. Durability is crazy, considering how many carries he's had lifetime, not just NFL, but high school and college. And the game has shifted back. So Emmett, Walter, Barry, Kurt, like a lot of these names, the game was still very much so run oriented. The fact that Derek's been able to do this in a league where, because for years, 4,000 yards passing in a regular season was like crazy. But like, you'll have like 5 or 6 guys hit that now. And you like the average to get 1,000 yards, you need about 60 to 70 yards a game. And the fact that he's got multiple 200-yard games, I think he has the most 200-yard rushing games. Like he is when you think about Derrick Henry isn't real. Like he is, to me, he might not be human. Like, and I've trained him. I've got video. Like he might be an alien. And I saw that when I saw him in high school, when he was junior high school. It's just it's amazing to see somebody that you already knew, that you knew doing that. So like, I love that. I love that. I think he's, again, right now I put him at 7.
Since we're talking about these AFC North teams, I actually want to backtrack really quick because we didn't get a chance to reveal this, but breaking news, the Browns actually fired their head coach, Kevin Stefanski.
Also, the Raiders fired Pete Carroll.
Oh, wow. Oh, breaking news again. Raiders fired Pete Carroll. Actually did not know that one. Thank you, James. But
yeah. Angelo, you talked about Thurman Thomas was really good. That's the name that I had to try. But yeah, they fired Pete Carroll.
Raiders fired Pete Carroll, AFC West team. Raiders have fired Pete Carroll.
That's a Tom Brady push.
Carroll signed a 3-year deal.
Tom Brady's for the cause, man. I think he's gonna bring. I think like the Vikings stunk, right, outside of their defense. I wouldn't be surprised if Brian Flores gets another crack at being a head coach out in Vegas. Brian Flores is the one who told us about Tua, by the way, and we didn't want to listen.
These are your Raiders head coaches in the past 5 years. John Gruden resigns. Josh McDaniels hired. Josh McDaniels out within a year. Antonio Pierce hired. Looks like the team was rolling, but Antonio Pierce was out the following year. Pete Carroll was hired. Now Pete Carroll is fired. So I don't know. Brian Flores wanted to take a stab at this position because looks like he's only going to be there for 1 year. If you take a look at the past. So,
okay, the way they write that makes it look way worse than what it is. So Josh McDaniels was 1.5 years, and then you hired Antonio Pierce because the players wanted that, but it didn't kind of balance out the way you needed to balance out. And Pete Carroll just got hired this year. So for the last 3 years, they've had big instability. John Gruden had to resign because you can't call your boss a part of the LGBTQ TCBY community, and talk about LGBTQTCBY players and use racial epithets like in the woke culture. Like, it's just shit you can't say. Like, Chucky fucked it up for himself. But it's just Vegas. It's a tough place, man. Like, Al Davis's son. Like, for them to be the guys who have basically, for the Davis family to be the reason why the NFL is today, because they were the ones who pushed it toward progressiveness. And they haven't been very good as far as consistently building a good front office or culture that would win. So Tom Brady being there, being a minority owner, kind of knowing what it looked like, and probably guide and gift this thing to be able to be something better than what it is. They will have the resources and creative stuff because they're in Vegas. But that's interesting, though. Stefanski probably would have benefited more from hiring. I'm not hiring for putting Shadur out there earlier. But Shadur needs a guy who believes in him to be able to be hired.
Definitely think Andrew Berry believes in Shador. That's the GM. For everybody who's wondering who Andrew Berry is, he's the black GM, low cut. Seen him just congratulating Shador after their games and everything like that. But it seems like the disconnect is between the owner and the GM and the coach. And it looks like the coach is out of there. So we're going to be looking forward to seeing who the new Cleveland Browns head coach would be. And if I'm not mistaken, Stefanski was the Browns head coach for the last 6 years.
It's been time. Like, he just ain't any good.
He's been coaching since 2020. So looks like it's time for Stefanski to move on. But going back to the Sunday Night Football matchup, we actually have the passing charts from both quarterbacks. This is Aaron Rodgers. In the second half, Rodgers completed 4 of 7 passes over 10 air yards for 98 yards in the game-winning touchdown pass. Lamar Jackson, meanwhile, was a perfect 4 for 4 on downfield throws after halftime for 155 yards and 2 scores. This is Aaron Rodgers' pass chart. This is Lamar Jackson's pass chart for you guys. Lamar visibly frustrated at his post-game press conference about falling short of the playoffs. Don't have a video for you guys, but just wanted to relay that information from what I've seen. And man, for all of my Ravens flock out there, this was a tough win because you probably felt you were going to win this game, but Tyler Loop marched down the field and missed the field goal. He actually missed the field goal from 44 yards out. And if you guys are wondering, this is Tyler Loop's only missed field goal from 40 to 49 yards in this whole season. And he decided to miss that in the game where it matters the most. But James,
I like how you just said he decided to miss that.
Well, fate decided he would miss that. And a little bit of something else besides fate, because there was a priest who sprinkled holy water on the end zone in which Tyler Loop missed the field goal. But don't take my word for it. Check out this video right here of the priest sprinkling holy water in the same end zone where Tyler Loop missed the field goal. According to Mike Tirico, there's a big Catholic population in Pittsburgh, and it looks like, man, he was bringing out the Poland Springs for that football field. So
I'm gonna be honest with you, dog. I know we start off with the prayer, right? I like it. I love people in their faiths. I never knock anybody. I just think God has, or whatever's up there in the sky, has a lot of other things that they got to worry about than a goddamn football game. Like, it really could care less about that. And everybody's praying. Like, so what about the Catholics on the other team? Like, does God not like them because this guy came in and put just water with chlorine that he prayed over? I'm gonna say this joke by Ricky Gervais, but I'm gonna flip it as a black man, right? Because he said it was a Jewish joke, but like, it's hilarious, it's funny but dark, very dark. If you know him, if you follow him, like, or seen his comedy, he's a dark comedy guy. He said, so a slave went to heaven, and God said, in order for you to get into here, you have to tell me a joke. And he says, I can't say it because it's actually really dark. I'll tell you later on. I'll send it to you because it's actually, I can't even tweak it, because in order to say it. Oh, okay, I'll figure it out. All right, so a slave went to heaven after being hung and burned to death, and He God said, in order to get into heaven, you have to tell me a joke. He said, what's the difference between heaven and hell? Well, it's a little hot. It took a lot of heat for me to get up here. It was hotter for me to get here than it would for me to go down. He's like, I don't get. God said, I don't get it. Well, I guess you would have had to been there. So, like, just like if he missed slavery and he missed the Holocaust and he missed a lot of other things, he ain't at Pittsburgh, Baltimore. I can promise you that. Like, it's just like, and if he missed the little boys getting fluffed up, I'm sure by the Catholic Church, I'm sure this is, and if anything, he probably hates the Catholic Church more than others because of those things. But I just don't, like, that's just weird. Like, have your superstitions, but like some of this other stuff, man, just, what's that? The Elsa, let it go. Just, unless it's the Samoan guy, his prayers get through, even though Hawaii sucks. And that's where we got it from. So, but nah, man, that's wild. But you know what? Baby God, we know God got Mike Tomlin back. If nothing else, Mike Tomlin is going to be mid and be good enough just to get in. So I love it.
Mike Tomlin, the youngest, or was the youngest head coach to win the Super Bowl at the time. He won it back in 2009, and he looks like he's going to the playoffs yet again. And it's funny we were mentioning the playoffs because we are going to take a look at the NFL playoffs brackets right here. This is my most exciting part of the show because we get to take a look at these matchups. So the Texans will face off against the Steelers. The Steelers did all that just to lose to the Texans in the first game, but it's okay. The Buffalo Bills will be at Jacksonville, at Duval next week. The Chargers will be at the Patriots, and the Denver Broncos will play the lowest seed from the wild card round. So after the wild card round, there will be a reseeding process, and the Broncos will face the lowest seed out of the mix. And then on your NFC side, you have the Rams facing off against the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers are your fourth seed because they are your NFC South division winner. And the Rams are the fifth seed because the Seattle Seahawks clinched the division and clinched the number one seed as well. The 49ers will face off against the Philadelphia Eagles. That should be a great game. And there is a battle of the NFC North. So the Packers will take on the Chicago Bears. This is the only division matchup in the wild card round between the Packers and the Bears. So that should be a great game for you guys out there. But the Jaguars are hosting the Buffalo Bills. And from the looks of this bracket, I like our chances to reach Santa Clara.
Bro, I was in the Bills spaces yesterday on Twitter. And when I tell you the amount of nerds that are on this planet, like, advanced analytics said the Jaguars defense is ranks 30 in stopping the run against the run. Like, but the Jags are number one against the run. Like, you don't like it, you don't like stats. I was like, bruh, I'm not saying stats are there, but like, if all your argument is on stats, and they really got mad when they were like, look at your last 8 wins. They haven't, who have you, like, this was the 2 of them were to the Titans. And I was like, well, the Colts were number 1 in the division when we beat them. Well, you only beat them because they lost. I was like, we were whooping their ass out the gate. I said, well, I'll tell you this. We beat the number 1 team in the AFC. Well, who are they in this spot? I was like, well, are the Dolphins any good? No, the Dolphins stink. I said, in your last 8 games, you lost to the Dolphins. If we're using the logic, you stink. But I believe the Bills game is going to be a good game because they have Josh Allen. And Josh Allen, and I was telling Josh Allen is somebody you have to account. He's that dude. They're like, what would it say? Our Josh Allen has to be better than their Josh Allen. Period. If our Josh Allen is better than their Josh Allen, we'll win the game. But I do like the odds of that because you got then you play the Patriots more than likely, but the Chargers are a good team, but we swept the AFC West. Like I was like, we swept the entire division. Like that's difficult to do. To beat everybody, like that's tough. But the way it will go more than likely is we will. The only way we'll host 2 playoff games is if the Chargers upset the Patriots. I probably prefer that because it's easier for me to get back to Jacksonville than it is for me to fly to Boston. So, like, if the Jags win next week, which I believe they will, I will. If the Jags win next week, I believe I have to go down to Miami for Battle Miami with MFTK Foundation. I will fly from Miami to Boston so that I could be at the game. Hopefully it's a 1:00 game so I can get back out of there and I only have to spend the day there and come back to Miami. I will potentially though, because if the Hurricanes win on Wednesday, I'll probably have to go back down to Miami to cover the national championship, which is in Miami on the 19th. The Jags crossover is fucking up my universe right now. And I'm in limbo because people are like, what are you going to do? I need this. I can't tell you what I'm going to do until Wednesday, first off. And then I can't tell you what I'm really going to do until Sunday. So it's crazy. Life is crazy right now. So, but yeah, man, but fun, but fun nonetheless. I am loving the Jags. I want the Jags to be able to get to San Francisco. So I'm curious of how work will look during that week.
For the first time since 2018, the AFC will crown a new champion other than the Chiefs or Bengals, both teams failing to make the playoffs. So, with this weekend, we have the wild card weekend coming up. These are your slate of games for the NFL playoffs wild card round. So, on Saturday, you have the Rams versus the Panthers, and then you have the Packers versus the Bears. First game being on Fox, second on Prime. Then on Sunday, you have the Bills at Duval at 1 p.m., Niners at Eagles at 4:30, and lastly, you will have the Chargers at the Patriots at 8 p.m. Then on Monday, you have the Texans versus the Steelers at 8 p.m. on ESPN. So we got that out of the way. Let's talk about the 2026 NFL draft order because the first 18 spots are set. And James, Jaguars are not in the first 18 spots at this point in the season. Best feeling for Jags fans. Don't have to see our names highlighted, but let's take a look at which teams make the cut. The Raiders have the number 1 draft pick in the 2026 NFL draft. And everything I will say is assuming these picks will stay at this spot, that they won't drop down or switch picks with another squad. So that's just a little disclaimer. But let's take a look. The Jets have the 2nd pick, Cardinals 3rd pick, Titans with the 4th pick, Giants with the 5th, Browns with the 6th, Commanders having the 7th pick, the Saints with the 8th pick, and James, the Chiefs are going to get a 9th pick in the 2026 NFL draft. Bengals get the 10th pick. Dolphins get the 11th. The Cowboys are getting a 12th pick. And James, the Rams are getting the 13th pick in the NFL draft next year. Baltimore is getting the 14th pick. Bucks getting the 15th. The Jets are getting another pick in the top 20 from the Colts. Lions get the 17th pick. And the Vikings get the 18th pick. And spots 19 through 32 to be locked in after the playoffs. So we'll continue to give you guys an update on this, but the Jaguars actually don't have a first round draft pick this year because we use that on Travis Hunter. So
giving it to the Browns. So hopefully they'll get the 32nd pick.
So just want to repeat that for everybody out there. But these are your 2026 NFL draft orders, assuming all these teams will stay in these spots. But the Chiefs with the ninth pick, that is a scary sight to have, especially if they get an impact player who can do the things on the field immediately. But the Rams with the 13th pick, that's pretty scary as well, because the Rams are a good squad. They are the fifth ranked squad over on the NFC side. So
They're gonna find somebody that's actually useful. It's gonna be a name that we like. Everybody's like, that's just solid. Watch Bane drops out of the top 10, goes there. And that's not what anybody wants. Like, that would literally make them better. Bane, Fisk, and damn Verse. And then they got another guy too. Like, it's just like not even that's just not even Christian. Like, because they'll be able to use him like Aaron Don, but they'll be able to use him like Aaron. They'll be able to interchangeably place defensive ends, defensive linemen wherever they want to, wherever they see the benefit. God.
It's time to start putting some more respect on Bobby Wagner, James, because he is the consummate professional and he is in an elite company. So in case you guys didn't know, Bobby Wagner has hit 2,000 career tackles, joining only London Fletcher and Ray Lewis. Whew.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, he's well, we don't even know where London Fletcher is. Yeah, just imagine if they take this sport away from us. The evil, what you call crime.
Imagine we never had it became a science.
Like, just, that's terrifying. Like, it makes me, because Foye Oluokun just got 1,000 tackles, right? Like, career. Yeah, he just hit, like, he's like one of 10 people. Like he got to keep playing for a long time to be able to catch these guys, man. You know what? Brain's smooth.
Yeah.
like brain just smooth. I love it. Hey, good for them, man. Good for them.
But shout out to Bobby Wagner. First fell in love with him from the Legion of Boom Seattle Seahawks days. Now he is a Washington Commander, but that doesn't stop his tackles from keeping on. He has now broke 2,000 career tackles, making him one of only 3 players in the history of the NFL to do so. So shout out to Bobby Wagner, Mr. Wagner, and definitely wishing you much more success, in your career. So, James, the regular season is over. So now we can crown the stat leaders in the NFL for the regular season. So huge congratulations and huge shout out to all these guys for leading the most specialized and most competitive league of football in the world. So shout out to Matthew Stafford. He led the QBs in passing yards with 4,707. James, a lot of people saying that he is the clear front runner for MVP. His touchdown to interception ratio is like over 5-1, if I'm not mistaken. So he's been pretty cracked this year. I actually want to give you guys, over 5-1. So he has a 46-8 touchdown to interception ratio. So that's closer to a 6-1 touchdown to interception ratio, James. And not to mention, those are just his passing touchdowns. He actually has this year as well, I believe. Let me double check for you guys. Never mind. I thought he had a rushing touchdown on the year, but he just has 46 passing touchdowns, doesn't have a rushing touchdown. But nonetheless, he is the front runner for the MVP race. And shout out to Jordan Brooks. He is your tackle leader on the year, 183 tackles this regular season. And James Cook did it, James. James Cook is your rushing champion this year he holds the crown. And Derrick Henry almost tried to catch up to him. James Cook, 1,621 yards. Derrick Henry with 1,595. I thought JT would stay at the top of this list, but he dropped to number 3, and Bijan is at a smooth 4. Shout out to Myles Garrett. No question, he is your sack leader this year, breaking the single season sack record. But James, an NIL is on this list. Brian Burns was number 2 in sacks this year. A great accomplishment. It sucks that you have to compete in the same time as Myles Garrett, but a 16 and a half sack fold season is not for the weak. So shout out to Spider-Man for sure. Receiving, JSN Jackson Smith has been that in Jigba this whole season. He is leading the NFL in receiving yards with 1,793, and he is your reception or receiving yards champion. And for your interceptions, Kevin Byard III is leading the league. He had 7, but Devin Lloyd was tied in second place with J.C. Horn, Ernest Jones, Antonio Johnson as well. We have 2 Jaguars defenders that have cracked the top 5 in interceptions this year. So shout out the Jags, man. Shout out the Jaguars defense, but shout out to Kevin Byard because he's your interception leader in this 2025-2026 NFL season. So shout out to all these guys right here, man, putting on for your team and most importantly, leading the NFL in your respective positions.
So the Jags got a pick 6, right? In the game. And do you know what I was given by the by Hard Rock? I was given $100 bonus bet. So I got a free. I'm on a. Oof, I don't know how to use this though. It's scary. But nah, that just made me think about that, man. So, but nah, shout out to all of the Knowles and shout out to our guys doing the thug dizzle. So, yeah, can't wait. NFL football will be over soon, and then we'll be sad. We have to watch baseball. Not liking it.
So to close out our show, we have one video to show you guys. And now we are in our Big Games BS section for today, where we bring the scope of the conversation outside of the typical football world. We have our BS or busting food review segment for you guys. And today, it's something I think a lot of people will respond with a busting with. So for all of my people up north, especially in New York, you know what a chopped cheese is. So this person actually made an Italian style chopped cheese for you guys. So I wanted you guys to spam in the chat if this item sounds like it would be BS or if it sounds and looks like it would be busted. So let's play this on and see what you guys think.
The volume's not on, but okay, I'm feeling this. Yeah, I'm liking this. I mean, I'm gonna eat it. It's a cheeseburger with tomato sauce. Like, I don't really understand like why they gotta do all of that. Like, I think that's just extra work. Like, just put the patties on there. Like, but I know chopped cheese and the phenomenon and all that other stuff, but like, I'm eating that. It looks good. Like it's really it's just it's a ground it's a ironically it's a ground up hamburger patty, which all a hamburger is ground meat. So, but yes, we would eat it with cheese and all of that jazz. So Damn, Amari Williams is gone.
Amari Williams, from FSU, did he officially enter the portal?
Yeah, he entered the portal. Tough, man.
Wow.
Like the kid.
He actually posted on Twitter at 11:38 a.m. with this right here. So he actually has 2 years of eligibility, and he will officially be entering his name into the transfer portal.
Mhm.
I think he's the only FSU player to have a sack in a game
touchdown.
and a touchdown. So he's leaving the school with his name in the history books. Not too many people can say they've had a sack and a touchdown in any game in football. So he has his name in the banner somewhere in FSU, but looks like he'll be wearing a different color jersey this upcoming season. So
Yeah, man. I like the kids. Mom listens to the show from time to time. Talented young man. Wish nothing but the best for him. Happens. So, but yep, that's all I got for that though.
that's everything I have on my end, James. Anything to say to the people as we bring in this new week, but most importantly, as we bring in this new year?
Nah, man, just again continue to promote the platform. Appreciate everybody for the support. Looking for donations again for the 7-on-7, as well as all of the other different things that we do for the community. Got big plans this year on deck. Golf tournament, our first ever golf tournament. Looking for sponsors for that. Also continue to look for sponsors for the show. Outside of that, man, I mean, advertisers for the show. Let us help promote your business across all of the different platforms. Outside of that, man, appreciate everybody else for chopping it up with me. We will see you guys next time.